Will Stewart from OnlineChessLessons.net, and I'm going to be looking at a game from the 2007 Russian Women Superfinal between Ekaterina Kovalevskaya with the white pieces versus Nadezhda Kosintseva. So, starting off here, e4 and c5, and Kosintseva with black, I've been checking out some of her games, and she plays this real flexible move order here with forward knight f6, and usually just d6, and so bishop g5 seems to be really the standard response. And now with queen d2, this is called the Richter-Rauzer. And so with a6, this is a very flexible way of playing the Sicilian, and the Richter-Rauzer seems to be the most aggressive response against it. So bishop d7, kind of the normal way, normal treatment for black, and exchanging is not quite so normal. I think maybe a little bit more standard here. Bishop c4 is an option, or even the direct f4. But, the exchange, maybe this was a line Kovalevskaya had prepared with queen e1, because now there's kind of some uncomfortable pressure for black. How do you defend against the threat of e5? And if you move the queen, so queen a5, whatever, then the doubled pawns here, and white's going to have a nice, a slight edge in the endgame. Maybe a slight pull, based on those doubled pawns. So instead, Kosintseva, she just plays bishop e7 and allows e5, and I'm pretty sure she prepared this line, because it's very risky to play something like this over the board after the exchanges and simply c4. And so how does black, what do you do? So rook c8, introduce a little bit more pressure, develop a piece. And so what do you, how do you defend this pawn and all this stuff here? So bishop takes c4, and if white plays pawn takes, at first I thought white just has a big edge here, but then I started looking a little deeper, and maybe black is a tiny bit better, or at the very least holding on. She's going to be able to, let's say, bishop takes, and even if, queen e5 here just castles, and black is going to very easily swarm on that pawn, and it's going to be tough. White is at the very least going to be extremely tied up defending it, and black maybe can try to attack on the queen side. So it's a pretty interesting line. Also, if queen e5 immediately, bishop takes a2 check, queen a4, picking up the rook. Just a little side note. So instead, Kovalevskaya, she just played this rook c1, and now it seems like black is going to be pretty much losing a piece by force. I don't really see a way out of this. So she just plays d5, and this is why I think it was home prep, because this is crazy to come up with over the board, just losing a piece in the opening for 2 pawns. But, it's not so simple. Black's got a very lasting attack against white's king, and these pawns are pretty strong. They really limit the scope of white's bishop. So just a couple standard moves, rook c5, getting ready to double or triple up on the b file now with rook b5. And the position is far from simple. So after rook b8, Kovalevskaya, just rook b1 is a very natural move, trying to trade off the rooks, reduce a little bit of that attacking pressure and potential for black down the b file. And Kosintseva, a pretty nice tactical shot. She snatches a pawn with queen h1. Queen takes h4. And pretty simple to see. This is not going to work well for white. Queen takes h4. So, pushing white back, and now, queen to d8. So getting ready to, either queen's coming to b6 or a5 to strengthen black's attack. And so white is up, white's got a piece for 3 pawns here. And the open h file, the snatching the pawn on h4 is pretty dangerous. So definitely far from clear, but black is controlling the center, and this is pretty much perfect coordination. As perfect as you'll see it. So rook to d1, trying to, white's just trying to open up the game and get some kind of play for her bishop here. And f5, it's a good try. Takes, and this is just going to get mated right away. So f5, white's trying as hard as she can to open up the position. It's just not that easy, because if rook takes d5 here, This is, pretty easily going to lead to mate. And here, white, bishop f3. Okay, the bishop's finally got some scope. But after d4 here first, so this pretty obviously leads to mate. And if queen takes, just rook b1, and now queen takes d4 is check, and that leads to mate as well. So d4, and the game is just about over. Queen c2, just trying to keep some kind of defense, but after d3 and queen c3, and now queen a5. And here, Kovalevskaya with the white piece is just resigned because there's no way to defend against all the threats. Just to give an idea, rook b1 is threatened with the same idea of queen takes c3 as mate, a similar idea from before with d4. So, if white moves here, it's just rook b1 and same thing. It's going to end up in mate. If queen d2, I think c3 by black does a pretty nice job of ending the game. There's no defense for white. I mean, it's something like this. I mean, even just c2, and forget about it. And also, with queen a5, if something like queen e1, it looks like maybe white's defending, but just queen takes a2, and that's going to lead to a pretty nice mate as well. So, really cool game by Nadezhda Kosintseva, just showing some pretty nice preparation in the opening with the piece sacrifice, obtaining 2 pawns for the bishop, and a really enduring attack against the white king.